I think in the grand scheme of religion, I think he was like the chillest pope. You know what I mean by that? Like, with how like organized religion and everything is, he was pretty chill for a pope, you know. You don't like my glasses? Why not? Well, I don't know. I think I've heard like decent things about him. Cause okay, I watched a YouTube video about people that I literally did not know about. And I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. And now I'm like learning about these people and I'm like, what the fuck? So I could also just be misinformed. So yeah. So don't take what I say, like take it with a grain of salt, because this is just what I thought that I've seen, right? But I would need to fact check it, and I'm not going to fact check right now. When did this go from something so serious in Wait, hold on. When did this go to something so serious instead of ass shaking? Guys, did you know that I would like to have a social media career where my ass isn't in your face 24/7? Can we make that possible? You don't like talking to me? You just want to see my ass cheeks? You can pull up on Twitter and you can see just about every one of those. You know what I mean? So, I don't know why you're asking me, personally. No, they did not. You guys are saying they hit the Pope in the head with a hammer to make sure he's dead. Bro, don't say that. You guys are evil. No, they didn't do that. He passed away. You know what they said though? They said that he passed away because he met JD Vance a couple hours earlier and apparently he called him a fake Christian. So everybody was like, well, people are like, "Oh, it was JD Vance's fault." You know what I mean? So, I think that's so funny. Dude, they did voodoo. That's so fucked, dude. Oh my god. I just can't believe he died like right after meeting this guy. It's so crazy. The Pope died. The Pope like actually died like. But he was very old though. How old was the Pope? 80, 88? Oh, I thought he was like he almost hit 90, which is pretty crazy. Calling someone a fake Christian makes you a fake Christian. But I feel like if the Pope, is telling you that he thinks that you're a faker, I don't know. Because Loki, he's kind of spitting. So, I scrolled by and you're like, the Pope died. R.I.P. Pope. Didn't they make like kawaii edits of the Pope? Like they made the kawaii edits of Drake? I think they made them. Hey, that's fucked up. This person says she seems pretty chill today. She must have didn't start doing key bumps. Why would you say that? That's fucked up. Popes are no more holy than the next guy in Christianity. Yeah, no, I understand that. I understand what you're trying to say. But I'm just saying it's funny and it makes sense if you think about the things that Vance is doing and you think about the things that the Pope has done. Then you're kind of like, oh, haha, yeah, yeah, he is giving fake Christian. Um, but yes, at the end of the day, you can't tell anyone. yeah, you're not Christian, you know, whatever. You do whatever you want, but I just think it's kind of funny. I was just giving you information. Wait, yeah, I know. But no, I like totally, literally, don't worry about it. I totally understand what you're saying. I'm just saying that I think it's really funny. Oh my god, it's so fucking hot in here. Jesus Christ. Do a bathroom review with a piss? Are these real people? Sometimes I don't know. Guys, are you real? I think the Pokemon that I would pick, I usually go for a fire type. So maybe Incineroar, or if not a fire type, then maybe Lucario. And if not Lucario, then I had Snorlax and Tinkaton in my main, so I think that was probably one of those. I like Tinkaton actually. Does anybody know that Pokemon? I like found it out when I was playing not too long ago, and I was like, I need you in my party. Tinkaton is awesome. Like, actually, like, she fucking eats. Dude, it's so hot in here. Guys, I'm gonna have to unbutton a little bit because, like, this crazy up in here. I saw a clip of her throwing a tantrum in the anime the other day. Really? Dude, it's so hot. I haven't seen her in the anime, actually. I've only seen her in the game. But yeah, speaking about that guy that was asking, like, why am I not, like, shaking cheeks? I said yesterday or the day before that I wanted to, you know, gain my social media presence in also like an alternative way, because like I said, I wanted to be on the internet for a long time. It's already been 5 years. I've already made my base, you know, of what I want, and now I'm just expanding, and I want to be able to expand in ways that, like, I'm not gonna pop my pussy every 5 seconds, you know what I mean? Like, I want to, like, sit down and, like, talk to people, you know? Like, that's what I like. I'm not, like, I don't have, like, half a brain cell, and all I know how to do is, right? So, I really like speaking to you guys because I feel like we have good conversations, and it makes me feel better about humanity when I talk with people, really, and they're not staring at my yonkers. You know what I mean? More game streams. I was supposed to do one last night, but I went to sleep. Cause, like, I don't want to be, like, just jiggling my yonkers like 24/7. Like, I could get on here and I can do, like, a bikini stream, but I think it makes it more special when I have regular time and I chat and I'm a real person, and then once a week you can go to a special place and you can see a bikini stream, right? Because I've seen people, you know, they do bikini streams every single time they stream or whatever, but I don't really want to do that. I kind of want to just, like, hang out. Like, I want to, like, make friends, like. And I feel like on the internet, a lot of the time when you see someone who does work like me, they automatically put you in a box. So whenever you try to expand, they're like, oh, why aren't your titties out? Actually, I would like to hang around people who aren't always staring at my assets 24/7. That would actually be really nice. Like, I know what I do to support myself, but it would also be nice to have some separation and a little bit of normalcy, because at the end of the day, I'm still a person. So I would like to be, speak to people as a person. You know what I mean? Let's have a rap battle. Bro, stop. Dude, this onesie is literally making me sweat so bad. A wooga wooga honk honk respectfully. Okay, you guys want to spark up? It's a more than reasonable approach to boosting your online presence too. Yeah, because you know what I've seen? Basically, also why I've always wanted to do this, right? But I didn't have like the energy to expand my business, right? And I feel like I've seen a lot of discourse about people feeling very negative about so I've been like exploring that concept a little bit, and I understand where people are coming from. So I wanted to be able to relate to people more. Like, I want to have like an audience of like real people who say real things with real opinions that I have real discussions with. So yeah. And I think that would be nice, because I already like have like a really nice community of people because of the way that I try to carry myself and the way I go about things. So thought it would be really nice, to expand on that, So, yeah. And I think it's a good idea because I've always also wanted to just play games and yap. So this is like streaming like kind of helps me like get about my day. Like, I do this in the morning, right? And then I do my computer work, I drink my coffee. It's a part of my routine now. And I'm really grateful that I decided to actually take this up and be consistent with it, because having a schedule like this like really makes me feel like more alive. I feel like when I don't have any what's the word? Any, not requirements, but responsibilities, like seriously to wake up every single day, I feel like it's kind of poo poo caca. So it's kind of like going to school or like going to a 9 to 5, because I stay home all day. So it's sometimes the days they blur together. That's why, you know? So I'm really, happy to be able to be on here and, talk with you guys and then play games later, so it's really nice actually. So honestly, thank you. Like, it's really nice. Dude, it's so hot. Thank you. Thank you, Cyrus. I appreciate you. Dude, I can't do this right now. It's so fucking hot in here. Guys, sorry. I'm gonna have to skin Charizard a little bit. Dude, it's so fucking hot in here. Oh my god. Alright, I skinned him. Thank you. I don't know if anybody cares, but you know how, I don't even know if anybody remembers this, but the other day I watched the content cop that iDubbbz made. And mind you, I don't know very much about iDubbbz, but I did know that he's not such a fantastic person. And then he was discussing Ethan, which is also not such a fantastic person. And then he had a bunch of people that are not so fantastic people. So anyways, I'm basically saying that I didn't know that all of these people were so controversial. I was like, oh yeah, they've done a couple stinky things or two, right? No, like, they're kind of menaces. Like, actually, like, these people are like kind of menaces. Um, so I watched it and I was like, okay, interesting. And after the fact now, I've been watching videos that people have made discussing the entire thing in general. And I feel like a lot was left out because they're trying to like fight each other. And oh my god, like I forgot that like people like have their own what's the word? Like not prerogative, but like goal. They have their own views on things, so they will, regardless if it's right or not, or it's ethical or practical, they're still going to do it regardless because it's what they want and what they believe. Isn't that so crazy? You can't you can't say the facts, and you can't say, "Oh yeah, but this person apologized," because you want to make them seem like a terrifyingly horrible person just to fit your narrative. Isn't that so nuts? I fucking forgot that people do shit like that. So like when I saw that they were actually just beefing back and forth, I was like, so I've been watching a bunch of stuff and I'm like, oh my god, these people are literally poo poo caca. What the fuck? So yeah, I was watching a little bit today on what is happening. And so for example, one of these people got CPS called on Ethan, right? Because they said that his kid was living in unsafe conditions, like eating poop, right? But what it was is that they got a dog that had an issue and they have an infant, and then the infant just got sick. So they were like, oh, maybe we didn't, we weren't perfect at taking care of everything, so the baby might have gotten sick from that. Which is like, I feel like it sounds a lot more calm than what they were trying to make it out to be, because they were acting like Ethan's house was like ridden with shit and the baby's just like, that's what they made it sound like. Like, I was like, what the fuck is going on right now? And then when he really explained it, I was like, oh, that makes a lot more sense. They don't necessarily believe it rather than chasing monetary gain. Dude, but like, what the fuck? It seems like grown what? I like Roblox. Am I an H3 fan or a Hassan fan? I'm not fans of any of them. I don't frequently watch people who discuss politics because I like to be on the internet and share things with people in a way that makes me feel better about the landscaping of the world right now. So I don't need to get on the internet and listen to people screaming at each other. But I was interested in it, so I'm listening to a little bit now. But what I'm saying is I don't casually view people who are just constantly talking shit about each other in politics. So I couldn't say that I'm their fans, but I know of them, right? But I didn't know of actual things that they've done. And now that I'm learning of the actual things that they've both done back and forth to each other, I'm like, oh my god, what the fuck is going on right now? Like, I was totally unaware to this beef. Hassan has made some problematic stuff in the past, but he seems really level-headed in his takes. I wouldn't know. That's why. But, yeah. See, because I don't want to say anything because, like, I don't know. But I've heard that people generally do like Hassan. Generally. So that's why I've been like doing like my research and like watching a bunch of like discussions on the topic, because I was like, damn, I watched this on stream. Like, let me go and like educate myself on these people real quick, because I was hearing stuff and now I'm like, wow. I wish I knew about how these people were before I watched it, so I could have like a more informed opinion. But yeah, there definitely should be more moderation on Roblox if you're talking about that. As an adult, I play Roblox, and I know a lot of adults play Roblox. And Roblox, unfortunately, a lot of children's platforms have been overrun by creepy ass adults that are trying to do weird things. So you definitely should just keep an eye out. Adults play Roblox. I play Roblox. But I'm saying there's a lot of weird ass people that do that on purpose. Purposefully. Because it's a platform where there are children. So, yeah. I'm not an adult. Do I have kids? No, I don't have kids. Oh my god, no. I wouldn't be able to. Creeps ruin the good games. Yeah, there was a whole discussion as to why there are no more child platforms specifically for children. And the reason why is because adults that are predators just ruin everything. So you need to have like like a game like Purple Place. I don't know if anybody remembers that. Purple Place was just a computer program where it taught you stuff. But basically, all you have to be careful with on Roblox is the voice chat, because people will just slang slurs 24/7. I've been in calls, not calls, in servers where they have their mics on, and they're like just slanging out slurs left and right and being super 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 racist. So that's one thing. And then you should watch who they add, I guess. I don't know if there's a messaging system, but maybe also check that. Just like the simple things. That's kids being kids. Yeah, but that's not kids being kids though. Because I didn't do that, and all of the people I surrounded myself with when I was a child didn't do that. So that's not just kids being kids, really. Let's be honest. That's kids being racist because they were taught that that was okay. And it's not. So it's not kids being kids. I did and was, but I'm not now. Yeah, well, I mean, the point is that you're not now, but the point is that you should never in the first place, right? That's my point. I never had like an urge to fucking get on Roblox and start talking shit to people. Like, it was just 2011 is different. Yeah, but I'm also talking about like right now, right now. Like right now, nowadays, I feel like we should not be like being like, yeah, this is okay, especially on a platform that's like for children, is what I'm saying. Like, okay, you're saying 2011 was different and you were on COD, right? Way different than what I'm talking about. I'm talking about children on a children's platform. COD is a way different topic than if you were a child playing COD. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people invading child spaces. Hi. Okay, put this back on. Yeah, there was a whole discussion about that recently that I was looking up, and it's really fucked up, but it's true. Like, you really can't have shit for kids anymore. It's an M game, and kids are playing it as if it's a kid game, and adults are playing it. Yeah, exactly. So even in the first place, you're not even supposed to be doing that, technically. So you can't just say, oh, kids are going to be kids, because it's really not made for them anyways, you know? I know they're going to do it probably, but that's why you teach them that that's not a good thing. And then once you let them know that, hey, that's not really a good thing, they can make the executive decision in their brain and, figure that out. Right? Right. But I feel like a lot of kids are just taught racism growing up. So that's why. So they think it's like, oh, I'm just joking. Like, it's just a joke. I'm just playing a game. You're really not, though. Because there's a kid on the other side of that is going to go to bed and think about that. That's what you want? What if that was you? That's not nice. Well, yeah, whatever. Okay, we're sparking up. You're stronger than me for keeping the onesie. Dude, it's because I'm trying not to move so much. So, like, I won't get too warm. Okay. Hi, thank you so much for the roses. Yes, my glasses are prescription. I got them on a website. I'm ordering a final, like a shipment of these at the end of April. It's justified. Yeah, because, no, I get it. You know, I get it. I'm just saying, like, it shouldn't. But it is. But it shouldn't. And I'm saying, like, there's a lot of people who actively practice not doing stuff like that. So I'm saying it's possible. So it shouldn't really be like, oh, you know, kids being kids. No, you should be like telling them like that's not something you should like. Honestly, I feel like if we scolded and bullied kids more, they would stop doing fucked up shit. I'm all for bullying kids at this point because sometimes these kids need to get bullied to get to take me down for saying that. Is it a Pokemon outfit? Yeah, it's Charizard. Hey, like, I was bullied, and I feel like that really shaped me as a person. Wouldn't that just make them bully others? Yeah, but, okay, fuck. Then that means I have to, like, micro-explain, like, what I mean. Okay, I was half saying it as a joke, but the other half is like, if you think about it, sometimes if you bully the bully will understand like, hey, maybe I shouldn't be bullying because it doesn't feel good to bully. Like there were these kids in middle school that were bullying this kid, so then I got up and I bullied them and I screamed at them and they started crying and they stopped bullying the kid, and the kid sat with us at lunch and he made us cookies and he was really nice. So that's what I mean. Right? No, it's okay. I'm just saying like I take things like super literal sometimes. So if you're not like lol haha, I'm just kidding, then in my brain I'm like, "Oh, for real?" Like, do you understand what that means? So I think there's something wrong with me. That's why these people like genuinely catch me off guard, because they'll say something and I'll genuinely be like, "Oh, you want to know about that?" But they're trying to rage bait me. So then I end up getting confused because I'm like, "Hey, that doesn't make any sense." I can't do this shit. That's as a peer though, as an adult, it's harder. Definitely. Definitely. Yeah, that wasn't really like my finest example, but yeah. I'm putting this up so I can just like, right, make things a lot easier for everybody involved. Which is just me. Yeah, I just like, because personally me, I feel like thank you, I attempt to think of everything with like factually. Like I attempt to think of everything on an even playing ground for everyone, and we're all at like a mutual understanding of having a conversation. I don't know. In my head, like I just think like people are just like actually saying things. I forget that people like say things to like make you mad or like make you upset. I forget about stuff like that. Because you know why? Because I'm not doing that. So it slips my mind because that's not something that I actively practice or think about. So when somebody does it, I'm like, "Oh my god. Goodness gracious." Thank you. And also, being on live helps me practice my communication skills because I have a lot of anxiety talking about certain things, like with people, because I grew up in a mindset that everybody fucking hated me. So, this helps me practice that people don't hate me and it's just in my head, right? So, I can talk about things and we can have discussions and I could be wrong, and that's okay. That's basically what I'm teaching myself, that it's okay to make mistakes and be wrong and have discussions about it. You're what? Dude, it's so hot in here. Okay, wait, let me open my window so it can air out. Hold on. What are you doing? Come inside. I'm gonna start crashing out. It's so hot in here. My bad, I'm fighting for my life right now. Dude, I'm doing stuff right now. Hey, I can't. Stop. Come here, little boy. I love you. But can you, like, not right now? I love you so much. No! No! Get out of here. I'm doing things that a little baby shouldn't be doing with me. Stop it. I should do what? I should set up a boxing match? Hi. My handsome little boy. What are you doing? Hi. Someone in chat. I goon to you. Okay, little boy. Can I have my time, please? I'm doing stuff. God, can't do shit around here. Jeez, now I'm sweating again. Oh my god. Oh, Lord have fucking mercy. No, yeah, he's great. He's adorable. But, I might be a little busy right now. Guys, I'm gonna do this. It's too hot. It's too hot for me to have this with my sleeves on, dude. I need to, like, air out right now. Fuck. I wish my house was cold, dude. Hi. Just change, queen, it's okay. No, I'm committed to the outfit. Stop. I commit to this. I want to wear it. How long you keeping the fit? For this live, that's about it. Like, when this live is done, I'm taking this off. Oh, you want one for EDC? Dude, you're gonna pass away. Like, straight up, you're gonna pass away. Developed a crush on you. What's my place in line? I don't know. Take a ticket. What am I doing behind that? We're gardening right now. I just thought it would be a lot easier for me to garden with this in front, so I don't have to keep going like this. Because people have been making a point that it looks like I'm snowing, or like, what is it? I'm skiing. And I'm like, oh my God, why would you say that to me? I'm so offended right now. So, I'm trying not to do. No, I actually got offended, like, actually. So I was like, I don't want to do that anymore. Oh my God. I was like, me? That's fucked up that you would ever suggest that I'm doing something like that. Good morning. What the fuck? Okay, well, you know, I spoke about the content cop thing, right? The reason why I was even saying that again, I was bringing it up, because I was watching a video and I was wondering if you guys wanted to listen to me yap about that. Because I have a video of a guy that's like perfectly explaining like all of the shit that they didn't elaborate on purposefully to make them look like bad people, like make each other look bad. Well, anyways, I'm probably gonna do that anyways, because I was doing it anyways. But I'll start the video from the beginning because the guy actually has some really good things to say. And I was watching it and I was like, damn, like, I wish I had somebody to discuss this with right now. So, yeah. So when we garden a little bit more, we're going to go ahead and do that. Watch what? I watched Content Cop, iDubbbz Content Cop on H3 the other day. And now I'm watching why they're all bad people, basically, because I didn't know that they're like very problematic people. Like, I knew they were problematic, but like I didn't know what, right? Oh, they were saying that Joji's the only one that made it out unscathed. Because I didn't frequent that YouTube section when I was a kid. You know what I used to watch? Minecraft YouTubers. And I stumbled upon Onision when I was a kid as well. And, oh, I used to watch My Digital Escape. Fuck, that was so funny. It was, you know, Johnny Gilbert? He was in that. Johnny's lived 1,000 lives. He really has. Yeah, no, like, good for him. Like, awesome for him. Like, he's the only one that, like, really made something out of it. Like, for real, for real. He could be on TikTok live begging for gifts right now if he didn't go and pursue that. Like, what's his name? Jason Nash. What is he, like 50? And he's on TikTok live begging for gifts. Dude, you know he's begging for pennies, which is just makes it like even worse. I'm saying, if you go on the side of the street and ask for money, you'll probably make more money than you would on TikTok Live. Because people are always like, oh, this person sent me a galaxy. Girl, that shit does not even total out to $5. So we're talking about galaxies that are like, they're crazy, right? Okay, you buy the galaxy for 10, and the person you're sending it to gets it for less than 5, because TikTok's taking half your cut. So the lion or whatever that people are like, oh, it's like $400. Yeah, it's $400 for you. But did you know that you're giving half of that to TikTok? So you're actually just giving the person like less than $200. A galaxy is $10. Yeah, for you to buy it. But once you send it to somebody and somebody receives it, it turns into less than $5 because TikTok takes half. Any money that you put through TikTok for lives and stuff, they take half. Half. I was doing the calculations before because I was like confused as to these numbers because people are always making stuff up. So, yeah. Literally don't gift people like every couple of months. Okay, you know how I get on here and I have like 20 people and I get like some gifts some of the time, right? This is usually how like lives are. So I've been accumulating $50 over, how long does it take? Like a month, 2-3 months, and then it accumulates $50 and then it takes it out. I wait until it accumulates $50 because I don't want to take out like $2, you know? So it takes like 2 or 3 months for that. So if you're like a regular person, you're just yapping, you're really not going to make much money unless. And what sucks about that is like people will be sending like thousands, they get thousands and thousands of dollars from TikTok Live and then TikTok is taking half of it. That's so balls. So I tell people about that because I don't like that. I feel like you're getting scammed. And then the person that's receiving it like doesn't even understand like how much you paid for it. I don't know. It's just kind of stupid. But yeah, there's that. Do other creators have like a contract or negotiable about what? There are no contracts or nothing about TikTok. I mean, so far for me because TikTok would have to like contact you for that. So I don't know. I just do things in like a regular way. And yeah. So I've been trying to sail through things. Fuck, I need to write down what I mean, but the way that I've conducted myself on social media is like strategically for work. Like, okay, not all the time because, right, I had a mental health episode, right, so I couldn't control a lot of things. But the point is that I'm trying to do everything myself, like not begging for stuff or working with other people because they have more followers than me and they're going to give me a boost or something like that, right? I've been trying to like organically grow things because like I said, I want to have longevity on here. So what moment you realized you like going live? I've wanted to go live for like 2 years. I just haven't had the mental capacity to be able to sit here and talk to people because I was really insecure and scared right after my episode. So I had to wait a while to be able to actually speak with strangers. When I first got out of my psychotic episode, I couldn't even stand inside of a grocery store. I walked inside the grocery store and I started freaking out so bad that I had to go back to the car. So basically, I've grown from that to be able to sit here and speak and have full conversations with you guys. So I'm pretty proud of myself for that, actually. Because I'm always actively challenging myself. So Also, hi. Hi. Yeah, dude, it was pretty fucking rough. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you, that shit was rough as fuck. As fuck, dude. It was like getting in a car accident and having to learn how to walk again. That's how I can describe it, basically. And like basically you could say, now I can run, right? No, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, my whole point of being like alive is to see if I can help myself or heal myself from everything that has been done to me. And I'm like learning how to get my footing, right? So every day is a new challenge, and every day is a new day that you can learn something or conquer something. And that's my whole point, is to see if I can be happy. My point of existence is to try and be happy. I was happy once. Well, my stepmom took that away from me, so I'm gonna see if I can try and do it again. You know what I define as happiness? I can wake up in the morning with a smile, and I don't feel clouds in my head, and I don't feel foggy, and I don't feel like confused. Basically, I'm dealing with like derealization and depersonalization 24/7 at this point for years. So I'm basically just like trying to fight off um, everything. So that's why it's hard for me to put as much effort as I want into things, because on top of working, I'm like literally boxing myself 24/7. So yeah. So that's why I try not to stress myself out over the fact that I can't produce content like other people like I want to. You know how there are some people that post a lot and they're able to create a lot of content because they can work like every day. I fucking can't do that. So that's what I'm trying to build up to. Not working every single day, but working a lot like anybody else does. And like I feel personally like I'm passionate about my work. So that's why I also have the motivation to try and do better every day, because I'm actually doing stuff that like I enjoy. That's also what I feel like life is. A part of life is doing things that you enjoy if you can. I know a lot of people are in unfortunate situations and they can't do what they want, but I feel like if you have the space, the privilege, the ability to do what you want, I think you should just do it. As long as you're not trying to murder someone, I think you're good. I say that a lot. A lot of people are in the position where they can do whatever they want, but they feel stuck because they love their family so much, or they feel like people are going to judge them and they rely on people's opinions of them. Bro, literally, whatever. Because then you're going to be older and then you're going to look back and you're going to like, oh, I wish I did that. No, then you just did it. And then you're like, wow, I'm so glad I did that. Right? Right, 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 right. Okay, let me put this to the side. Like, if you want to take, like, me, for example, my parents wanted me to um, graduate high school, go to college, and have a job. And then I don't know what they wanted me to do from there. But that's basically what they were trying to get me to do. And it just wasn't in the cards at the time. So I decided to work instead because that's what I needed to do to get the fuck out of there. And I was like, school isn't as important as my mental health is to me right now. So, first thing I'm going to take care of is my mental health. Oh my God. They hated that so bad. They actually were worse after I decided that I wasn't going to go to school. Even though I was making more money than my dad, but because I was in my room all day, they were treating me like I was a bum. So, yeah. What was I talking about? Yeah, I don't know. I think my family personally just always has the audacity. So that's why I like don't care because I had to try to mentally separate myself from them. Like, you know how you love your family, right? You have like mental ties to them that you can't break. Well, I feel like they hurt my feelings too many times, so I had to cut the string, if you understand what I mean by that. So that's why I don't give a fuck. Like, they'll come up to me, they'll be like, "You're so mean to me, and you didn't even come to my birthday." Dog, you didn't tell me when my grandfather's funeral was, and you're over here being a poopa caca, and you're older than me. Be so serious right now. I just don't know, like, why he wanted me to go to college, like, that badly. But he, like, was mad that he had to take me. So then, basically, since I didn't, oh my God, I literally put this back on because I thought it was gonna be fine, but it's, like, still way too hot. I love when it's always on you to forgive, too. Yeah, exactly. Um, they're mad at me because I can't forgive them for torturing me, basically. And I'm like, hey, you kind of tortured me, so I'm not very happy about this. And they're like, oh, can't you you're always talking about that, blah, blah, blah. What do you mean I'm always talking about that? I'm disabled now. Like, what do you mean? It's my life now because of you. That's so crazy. Whatever. I just hate these people where it's like, my life is just a little dot in theirs, so they don't care. How I was explaining it was, you've been here for 30 years already, right? You birthed me, and now I've been here for 20. Or, like, yeah. You've been here longer than my existence. So you know more than I know. I only know what you taught me from my existence. Fuck. But basically what I'm trying to say is, like, all I know is them. But they know more. And they're acting like I need to change. Damn, wait, hold on. No, wait. Stop. I had the right words. I lost my train of thought. Hold on. No, like, I really had the words in my brain. That's why I gotta write stuff down. Yeah, I have memory loss, guys. Not even joking. um, let's see. I don't know, they just kind of, like, act like I know what they know. Because they know it. And, like, they think that my struggles are, like, not real because they don't see them and they don't care. But I feel like they tornado through me. Like, I grew up in a tornado and then the tornado ended And everybody's just like, okay, cool, but I'm still mentally in the tornado. You know what I mean? They like left me like, do you get what I mean by that? They basically birthed me in a very fucked up situation, grew me in a fucked up situation, and then now the situation's done, and everybody's like, okay, this is fine. Hey, I actually don't know anything other than the fucked up situation, guys, because you didn't teach me anything else. And I went out of my way to try and learn myself, but as a child, you can only do so much. So everything that I know now, I like to say that I pretty much raised myself, because all my parents did were be bullies. Yeah. So yeah. So basically, I feel like I did everything for myself, and they're over here calling me ungrateful. And I'm like, all you did was house me like you should have as a parent. You're saying I'm ungrateful because you didn't like do terrible things that you weren't supposed to do anyways. You only did a little bit of terrible things, but it wasn't that bad because you didn't physically do anything, right? Right. I have 3 siblings. I have 3 older brothers, and I'm the youngest. And then I have 2 stepbrothers. I'm the only girl. So you can imagine how that feels like in a world full of boy moms. Being a girl in a world full of boy moms is fucking torture. So yeah, so they're mad that I hold on to these things, but this is my life. This is what I've known. So I just feel very offended and disrespected by the fact that they want me to just get over everything. What do you mean? I didn't have a life before this. I grew up in this. You had a life before this. So you know more of life than I do. You fucking bitch. It's okay. No, I'm just like explaining it because I feel like I don't know, I just feel like it explains a lot. And I feel like a lot of people can relate to stuff like this, and I always want to discuss topics like these as well because it makes me feel better to get it off my chest and be validated because I've just been gaslit my whole existence by my family. So when I get on here, you guys aren't gaslighting me, and it's like a breath of fresh air. Oh my god. Let me put this back on. Gaslight about what? Anything. Just about anything. Just because you can. Yeah. You deserved it. Like, they'll say stuff like, I didn't do that. It wasn't that bad. You deserved it. Like, I just don't understand, like, how you can speak like that to, like, your child or a child in general. How cruel and how cold do you have to be? That's why I'm not going to forgive you. You want me to forgive you, and you haven't done any personal growth. You can't even say sorry. You can't even look me in my eyes and apologize to me because you don't even care. So why am I going to give you the satisfaction of saying I forgive you? No, go fuck yourself. I actually hate you and I hold a grudge, and I hope you remember that for the rest of your life because I will. I have to remember it for the rest of my life. So why do you think I mention it to you every time I see you? because that's what I see when I see you. You know, I told my parents, when I see you, this is the memory that I have, and it's an extremely fucked up memory. And they're like, they'll just be like, oh. That's why I had to move out as quick as I could. I would have moved out at 18 if I had the money, but I didn't. So basically, how I ended up in my spot, like in my job and my career right now, is because my parents were fucking douchebags, right? So my whole goal since I was 12 years old was I need to get the fuck out of here as fast as I can. So I graduated and I immediately went to go get a job because I didn't go to college, right? I said that. They had to take me to work. And then I got 2 jobs, right? Still wasn't making enough money, but I had made enough money to get a beater car. And I crashed it, you know, because I didn't know how to drive really. And, you know, they were just stressing me out really bad. But I broke up with an ex at the time, and I decided to start doing online work because I was like, oh, I need to see if I can like at least make like a little bit extra so I can save and get the fuck out of here, because like this is getting like really fucking ridiculous. And luckily I ended up doing good, so I was able to get this place and get a better car and actually live away from people like that. And it's really changed my perspective on things and really put a lot of things into perspective. And it's been a really rough battle with myself, but I knew that I was going to have to fight myself after I left, because all that was left for me to fight was myself once I left. So I'm still fighting myself, but like it's a lot better, you know? So that's how I ended up here. But the thing is, I love it because, can I be honest with you guys? As a kid, I already knew what it was. You know, I had my phone since ever, no parental guidance, no controls on it or nothing, right? So whatever, I already knew. But my thought was, I don't want to do this unless I have to, or I have no other avenue. And I really felt like I didn't have much more of an avenue, because I thought if I was going to stay at my parents' house for any longer, I think I was just going to like, again, because like this shit's crazy, like, but I didn't want to waste my life over theirs. They wanted me to waste my life because they feel like they wasted their lives. But I knew that. So I didn't want to waste my life on purpose. I want to be happy and do good things for myself and prevail on purpose, because I know they're miserable and they never got to do what they wanted to do. So they wanted me to feel bad about them not being able to do whatever they wanted to do. Well, bitch, I'm going to do whatever I want to do. So you can go fuck yourself. They like raised me to be like as depraved and fucked up as them. And I was like, no, you guys are weird. And they got mad at me, basically. And then, mind you, I was the youngest out of all of this. So I was arguing with adults and teenagers. I'm arguing with people like 10 years older than me. Like they're the fucking children. Yeah, they treated everyone differently. I had all brothers. I was the only girl. I was treated different. My brothers were babied, so they don't know anything. They came out, so at least one of them came out helpless. I mean, I always knew from a young age that I needed to fight for my life. So once I realized that my family was a bunch of like mean people, I was just like, my goal is to blow up and act like I don't know nobody. Ah, 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 ah. Well, yeah. Wow, good talk, guys. Good talk. That was awesome. Should have gone to Coachella with me. I probably would have had a panic attack, and then you would have been like, I wish I didn't bring this dumbass bitch. Yeah. And also, like I said, saying these things out loud helps me really acknowledge it and accept it and come to terms with it, because like I said, I've had people basically telling me what I feel isn't real or isn't right or I'm wrong. So it's nice to be able to say something and not have to tell myself it's okay, and also not have to listen to somebody tell me it wasn't that big of a deal. Because honestly, it was. I'm where I am and who I am now because it was that big of a deal. It's impacted my entire existence. So it is that big of a deal. But for them, it's not. Because it's not their entire existence. It's just a dot in time for them. That's so selfish. Everyone in my family is so incredibly selfish. It's so crazy. And you know, they'll stand there and tell you that they gave me everything. You know what they gave me? Material items. I said, "Can I get a hug and a kiss? Can you hang out with me?" "No, but I'll buy you some new clothes." "No, but you can get a DS." "No, but I'll just give you this instead." I didn't want that. Piles of stuff in my room for no fucking reason. I just wanted a hug from my fucking mom. Be so serious. "Oh, I gave her everything." Everything that you thought you, everything that you liked, everything that you thought you wanted, that you thought would make things better. Yeah, my parents are a bunch of empty, cold ass bitches. Like, dead ass. Like, they're so cold. I'm like, I don't even know how you can sum up this kind of hatred for someone. You know what I mean? Like, how much do you hate yourself that you're treating your children like this? Why did you even have kids? But I have to be grateful. I'm a bitch, and I never get over anything, and everyone has to apologize to me because I make myself a victim, and I'm such an attention seeker, and I'm a whore. My mom was calling me a whore when I was 11, by the way, because I asked her if I could take birth control because my periods were very, 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 very irregular. Because I'm a whore and a slut. Actually, my mom probably feels justified in her saying that now, considering my work, so I might hear that one of these days. I expect it. Because apparently she stalks me. Oh well. Like, good for her. You're torturing yourself by watching me is crazy. Oh, yeah. It's not my fault. I was a child, and I've learned from it, and I won't let them step on me. And that's it. I'm an adult, and we're both adults now, and you can talk to me like an adult, and if you don't want to, I'm just gonna step away. You can write me an email. Have a nice day. Best revenge is a life well lived. Exactly. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you know what? They get so uncomfortable when I bring up stuff that they've done. That's how I know that they've never healed from anything and they're still the same person that they were 10 years ago. Because when I say, hey, you did this, they clam up and they get all scared. And like, start acting like I'm a villain. Like, I'm sorry that you haven't done any emotional work for yourself, but I have. So when you want to talk about it, you can hit me up. But if you're just going to tell me nothing happened, I don't want to speak to you. That's what my aunt did. When I graduated high school, she told my dad that she wanted to pay for college for me. And I was like, okay, she can text me then. And then she started being like, oh, well, nothing happened. Like, I still love you, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, can we talk about, like, what you did? Like, and she's like, oh, nothing happened. I love you. And I was like, well, if you're not going to, like, allow me to acknowledge anything, then I don't really want to have this conversation with you. And she was like, oh, but I love you. And I was like, okay, well, anyways, what about the school thing? And she's like, oh, well, you just want money from me. That's why you texted me. You just wanted money. Ho, you offered and you texted me first. You're also 40 years old, and I'm 18 right now. So I told my dad, and my dad was like, I'm not surprised. You know, even though I don't like my dad, I like my dad more than I like my mom's side of the family. Like, my dad, I can at least, like, stand next to and have a conversation with. But my mom's side of the family, oh, I burped. Okay, it's not that hot anymore, so that's good. It's too emotionally heavy for some people to take accountability. That's really embarrassing. I'm sorry. I just think that's sad and embarrassing. I just feel like you have enough privilege to be able to not take accountability. And that's crazy. What was I trying to go to school for? I wanted to be a zookeeper. I still want to be a zookeeper, but I don't think. I think I would have to do a lot of like physical and mental strength training to be able to do something like that. Because over the years, like I feel like I've really like deteriorated with everything that's happened. So, yeah. Yeah. Well, well, it's okay because I feel like now I do something that I truly enjoy, and I probably would have never gotten to this point of self expression if it wasn't for that. So, not saying that, it happened for a reason because these things should not have happened, but I did my best with what I was given, and I'm proud of myself for that. No matter how many times my parents did not tell me they were proud of me and told me that it wasn't a big deal, I tell myself that I'm proud of myself because I've done a lot, actually. My parents made me feel like my achievements are insignificant, but if I really think about it, I feel like I've done a lot. No, I just talk on live. You're the master of your own reality. You have complete control over your own life. If you are privileged enough to be able to do what you want with your life, you know, because like I said, a lot of people don't have a choice with what they do with their lives. But if you do have the privilege of having a choice of what to do with your life, you can do anything, literally. You don't have to put yourself inside of a box that everybody else puts you in. Just because there's a box doesn't mean you have to exist inside of it. Who said? Oh my god, free thinkers, oh my god. Dude, chill. Well, thank you. Dude, I have this scab here. Sorry guys, I'm picking my scab right now because it's pissing me off. It's just skin. Quick, keep picking at it. Stop! No, but you know what this was? This was actually like a real pimple, and then I tried to squeeze it and nothing came out, so I just ended up damaging it. So I just put a pimple patch on top of it for like 2 days, and I took it off and it turned into this like patch of skin here like this. You know, that actually happens to me a lot. It's okay though, because my acne marks, they tend to fade, so it's okay. It's gonna be okay, because I exfoliate a lot also, so I think that helps. And I use toner and moisturizer, so I think when you take care of your skin, do they hurt? No, it's literally just like dry skin right now. It's like a dark spot after a scab, basically. It's basically what it is. No, this one's fine. This is a dark spot. This is a dark spot. This is a dark spot. Pop it. There's nothing to pop. I just told you, it's a piece of skin. Okay, I'm gonna put this video because I kind of want to like stop talking because like my brain's gonna like explode. So I want to like just watch a video and like talk about it, if that's cool. We're gonna watch that. Okay, this says what iDubbbz didn't tell you, right? That's what we're gonna listen to right now. I was 5 minutes into it, but I'm gonna restart it.
Well, it turns out it's not me losing the plot. It's Ethan. He's the one who attacked first.
Do you care that your chat is calling me racist? Do you make any attempt to modify?
I have not looked at my chat.
Moderate that at all?
I have not looked at my chat at all, but you have
I just
to
opened it, but don't you have moderators? Do you care at all about what your audience says about me?
30
This Denim's character.
So basically, they're saying that Ethan started it, but it's kind of giving, they were kind of bullying him a little bit.
We think
That's
that
what it's serving.
she's a good person, like we think Ethan and Ela are good people.
He has kids, and his kids like crawl into the dog shit, and God forbid, I don't know what they do with it. They contracted a parasite that I had previously.
All right, listen to this. This is the baby with the poop thing that I was talking about. This is what they said about Ethan's kid. They were in Twitch chat, and her whole chat was like, call CPS.
God forbid, I don't know what they do with it. They contracted a parasite that I had previously never heard of in my life called Giardia.
Once a week, I look into what Ethan Klein's been up to, and every time I manage to find more and more terrible shit.
But he refused to talk on the phone unless I was willing to publicly say something about my former editor and denims. I don't want...
Okay, I'm gonna be honest. Actually, now hearing that, I feel like he's kind of valid in asking them to say something if he wants to be friends with him. He's low-key a little valid for that.
Someone who's going to give me like an ultimatum to have a conversation. The thing that made me start to question Ethan's intentions is that when he was
So these people are just mad that they were poking fun at him and Ethan actually did not think that was very funny and he said, please do something if you want to be friends with me, and they're mad, basically. But I know Ethan isn't the greatest person, but also this is just kind of like silly.
Suggested to talk to Sam Cedar. He kept saying that it was racist. Maybe if Ethan's able to get some help, maybe if he stops harassing other creators, maybe if he does these things.
Maybe Ethan's just crashing out because of all of these people talking shit about him, question mark? Because he looks like he looks really overwhelmed, I'm gonna be honest with you.
Eventually he'll find peace and we can like rekindle our friendship.
Alright, so iDubbbz just dropped a content cop on H3H3, and the whole thing is just completely feigning objectivity.
When you get fresh, quality ingredients from Winn-Dixie, you make the most of every meal.
While just not showing anything that could derail iDubbbz's argument that Ethan is just spiraling into a mental health crisis or something. But if you were to look at what put Ethan into this situation in the first place, you might think he was justified, or at the very least, you might have a better understanding of his actions, even if you didn't agree with them. But let's be real, when iDubbbz started the video with a skit including Frogan, Denims, and Hassan, we all knew he wasn't intending to be objective on the subject. I guess he has to bring in the views and the cash somehow, cause God knows, Creator Clash isn't doing it.
What's up, everybody? I'm Hassan Piker, and this is the Hassan broadcast coming to you live from a cloudy day here in California, Los Angeles. We're live and alive, and I hope all the boys, girls, and MBs are having a fantastic one because today's a beautiful day. I have a very important announcement. I finally done it. I watched Ethan Klein's content nuke, and I'm not going to call it context puke as I normally do because the reality of the matter is it was brilliant. Nothing was out of context. Everything was correct. I am an Islamist, fundamentalist, radical terrorist. I am a vicious anti-Semite. It's true. Most importantly, Ethan is more attractive than me, both physically and also mentally. I've been lying about everything, including my glasses. They're fake. He was right about that. That's not even in the content nuke. And he was right about that too. How did he know everything? How?
Okay, this is starting to make a lot more sense. Wow, so they were just mocking the fuck out of him. Wow. Oh my god, if I was Ethan, look, I'd be kind of mad.
Wake up, Ethan. Wake up, Ethan. Ethan, wake up.
Wakey, wakey, Ethan.
Okay, so let me get this straight.
This is really giving fucking nightmare now. I kind of get it.
iDubbbz is here to tell us how Ethan is going off the rails and taking it too far, while this is the people that he introduces the video with.
U.S. military? Boo fucking who? I hope you get PTSD. 6250. If we get to this goal, Raph and I will make the Twin Towers out of a stacked cake, and we'll make an airplane, and we'll recreate 9/11.
They start
Girl, what?
taking the ships. And they're like, guess what, dog? No more trade to Israel.
It's completely insane. This is no joke. I like him, but his politics are insane.
He lets his dogs all over his mansion, and he just leaves the on the floor, something that is probably related to the fact that his former housekeeper is suing him for a number of different reasons. So now the house is just like covered in dog and he has kids, and his kids like crawl into the dog and God forbid, I don't know what they do with it. I don't know if they eat it or if it's just from like contact with it with their hands or something, but they contracted a parasite that I had previously never heard of in my life called Giardia.
Maybe once a week, I look into what Ethan Klein's been up to, and every time I manage to find more and more terrible shit. No wonder this motherfucker's always sick. Yeah, it all makes sense now. It all makes sense now.
This morning we got a visit from Child Protective Services because I told this story on the show a few weeks ago about how when we adopted Olive, she had Giardia, and then the next day, Sonny started having diarrhea, so we suspected he might have Giardia. Seeing as that he's an infant, he's crawling around, he's putting everything in his mouth, etc. Makes sense, right? It's obvious. So it turned into this whole snark narrative that our house is a mess, that there's dog everywhere, that Sonny is eating and getting Giardia, and that, you know, et cetera, et cetera. They were able to provide enough details because of what I said on the show to make it appear that it was somebody. He said, like, when he first showed up, he's like, it's somebody that you know who made the report.
Yeah, those are the people iDubbbz decided to start the video with, so he can talk about how Ethan is taking things too far.
I feel like getting CPS involved is already taking it pretty far.
Funny is iDubbbz will never show any of the clips. Especially
if the baby's fine and like everything's okay now. This was like a previous thing and everything's okay. He just like accidentally got sick. I don't know. Babies are babies. That's... Damn, they're really fighting a war against each other. That's so crazy.
Clips from any of these characters to show why Ethan would go after them so hard.
So who really started it?
It's these three and their communities that have put Ethan in this constant spiral.
I can see how Ethan would be tweaking. I can see that.
They were the ones that constantly taunted Ethan and tried to smear him as this guy that wants to see Palestinian children die.
Hey, sweetie, you good?
Someone stole my Old Spice antiperspirant.
They were the ones saying his wife is a baby murderer because of her required service for Israel. They were the ones that let their...
Oh, so that's why they said that? That's it?
Community terror.
I don't really like. I think it's so crazy when people just generalize and stereotype everything. It's kind of nuts.
Him apart because their radicalized communities were willing to say things they wouldn't say to Ethan's face himself. They let this sort of mentality breed against him intentionally because they were too much of a coward to stop it because they agreed with it.
And you do you care that your chat is calling me racist? Do you make any attempt to modify?
I have not looked at my chat.
Moderate that at all?
I have not looked at my chat at all, but you
I
have
just
to
opened it, but don't you have moderators? Do you care at all about what your audience says about me?
There's 32,000 people in here right now. The reason why people are saying that is because of the conflations that you made, Ethan. That's why, like, I can't stop people from viewing you a certain way if you're gonna make these comparisons that they've heard from actually racist people. You literally implied that Jewish Voice for Peace would be akin to a capo in this circumstance.
Oh, you are in so bad faith for saying that, and you for even like putting that out in the world. That was not my point.
Made this comparison.
My point was that you can find anybody to defend any thing. That was my point.
Now, when people like iDubbbz are having you questioning why is
that was kind of mean.
Ethan crashing out so hard and insinuating that he's taken things too far and that he's going through some sort of like mental health crisis or something. Remember that it was Hassan allowing his community to steamroll Ethan and do nothing about it, saying that he isn't even reading chat. Yeah, I totally believe the guy that can pick out one comment that disagrees with him in a sea of seals clapping totally isn't seeing virtually his entire chat call Ethan racist and his wife a baby. Their deafening inaction has forced Ethan to essentially respond or just roll over and allow himself to be slandered. You know, I can see how if someone were to look at this from only the perspective of someone watching clips of Ethan crashing out, you might think Ethan is just going crazy or something. But picture this. Picture thousands of people lying about you and lying about your wife, trying to destroy future business prospects of yours, and trying to convince the rest of the internet that you're some sort of horrible person because you had a disagreement with their favorite multi-millionaire socialist streamer. I don't know, man. I would probably crash out a few times myself.
I didn't plan on
Yeah, he's kind of valid for crashing out.
making a content cop on H3. It sounds very stupid even saying that. H3 content cop, iDubbbz. Ethan Klein's out of control. And then you should do a content cop on Hassan Piker. Content cop on Sargon of Akkad. If I would imagine this in 2016, I would have been like, oh yeah, if I ever do that, it's gotta be because I lose the plot. Well, it turns out it's not me losing the plot, it's Ethan. He's the one who f***ing attacked first.
My good fucking friends who I stood by after all these fucking years can't find a spine to speak up.
So go f*** yourself.
I agree.
By attacking first, I assume iDubbbz means he is upset that Ethan called him out for saying nothing in his defense during this whole ordeal, especially when Ethan defended iDubbbz quite hard when the internet turned against him for being a shell of his former self and defending his wife's OnlyFans account.
So, by the
Bro, he had to say the whole word now. Now TikTok's gonna get my ass.
way, if people don't know, so you guys started dating, you decided to make an OnlyFans, but that was like years after you guys were already together, right?
Yeah, we were together for 4 years pretty much at that point.
And so then when you made that OnlyFans, there was like a huge
A lot
wave
of people
hate.
cared, which was very surprising.
Just gonna add, you were also very like the untouchable iDubbbz that like people, you never
Should I restart?
ever given them anything. You were always very careful, and you knew how to conduct yourself, and you were putting these videos that like you said, looking back at it, it's kind of like a hit piece, but you didn't give them any info about yourself, and like you.
Is that a banned word? No, but they might ban me for that just because. If we need to remember that TikTok does not fuck with me. So
wouldn't mess up, like you knew.
Right, and I didn't live stream, and I didn't do anything.
the reason why my first account got wiped is because I put F in a caption. Wipes my whole account and I never got it back. So, but yeah, all of these other people, they can say it. They can say the whole word. No, it's cool.
Any of that for a reason, and didn't give. And I think a lot of like the commentary community has kind of woken up to that idea. You'll see a lot of them shifting from like doing essentially hit pieces on people to like, I'm going to review a movie now, or I'm going to review TV shows, things that are like a lot more appropriate and not psychotic. He's had a show with Trisha Paytas. He's had a show with Hassan Piker. In doing so, he's gathered a ton of different audiences. Now, in his podcast with Hassan, Leftovers, they would mostly talk about surface level progressive shit and make fun of right-wingers.
And you're telling me he didn't flick their dick once at least?
Oh, that's 100 shavers, you trans women. I say, oh no!
And it was mostly that until they actually had to reckon with a very serious topic. I would say that Hassan was very well equipped to talk about that topic.
Palestinian people living in the West Bank are subject to these
The favoritism is crazy, but that's like the name of the game for just about fucking everything.
horrific conditions, or horrific living conditions by the state of Israel, America's greatest ally and the only democracy in the Middle East, if you ask Republicans and even liberals.
Well, the dance he invented was so kick-ass.
Israeli settlers are trying to evict Palestinian families in occupied East Jerusalem. The United Nations says that may be a war crime. It literally is.
Was just eating the toppings. And the pizza looked like a burn victim. It was all disgusting.
I don't know if you can make that joke in 2021.
Why?
It's insensitive to burn victims.
I think it's a good analogy. It's a powerful image.
Ethan was not prepared for this. Ethan, the whole time, is more of the goof guy. And that's fine, you know? We don't expect Ethan to be an expert on the topic.
More boxes, more options. Grainger has over 1,700 box types in stock, and
What a disingenuous way of painting things. Acting like Hassan was well equipped to address this situation, while you show a couple fleeting clips of him addressing the Middle East a few years back, and then showing Ethan f***ing around on his podcast. We can all see the direction you're trying to push people down by showing them this. Why not show them these clips instead?
We did it successfully. We stopped Vladimir Putin from invading Ukraine. Or maybe that was never gonna f***ing happen. Like I said, it was never gonna f***ing happen. I've never seen a group of individuals that will just like relentlessly act like they won a f***ing argument, dude. It's like, it doesn't matter. They'll be like, tomorrow, there's a war tomorrow. There's a war tomorrow. There's a war tomorrow. There's a war tomorrow. And the tomorrow never comes. And when there's no war tomorrow, they're like, you're lying. You're f***ing lying, dude. It's gonna happen. What do you mean? How could you say this? NATO is the reason why it's f***ing happening. NATO is the reason why they're doing it. Click on Pakistan. Wait, how do I zoom in? How do I zoom in? How do I zoom in? There's no 2 countries east of Iran. Okay, dude. Yeah, I don't. Shut up. Okay. Nope, that was a failure. No. 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 They got it.
Yeah. If you showed those clips, it might not make the point you wanted to make, right? Let's be real, Ian. Hassan was the goof guy as well. This guy was never the political savant you seem to be portraying him as.
So Ethan is having this back and forth with his liberal audience, leftist people online, progressive content creators, Hassan, all of these different people. He's finding new people every day, basically, to get in fights with.
Of all people, this guy, Matt Lieb, Frogan and Denims and all these dipshits. And everybody thinks this guy's awesome, apparently, even though he looks like Milhouse.
Well, honestly, I feel like this does put a lot of things into perspective.
Dork.
Denims, by the way, was the real villain of the video. Evil, hateful, and I'll say it and I'll double down on it. And people, oh no, not go there.
And it's all culminated, at least for my story, in Ethan burning bridges with people until he burned the bridge with me. Since Ethan and Hassan's falling out, I've been keeping to myself mostly.
My glasses are from ibuydirect.com.
I don't have many nice things to say. Maybe if Ethan's able to get some help, maybe if he stops harassing other creators, maybe if he does these things, eventually he'll find peace and we can like rekindle our friendship.
Ah, yes, Ethan, bad, bad, bad. Why are you burning so many bridges and acting crazy? Let's not talk about the fact that his son burns bridges with people all the time.
These specifically, I don't think are on the website anymore. Some people were talking about it.
Not to mention finds new people every day to call basically a Nazi. We already...
Oh my god, why does he have to say everything? TikTok is so sensitive.
He addressed...
They literally took me down the other day for Howard Stern saying something.
Why Ethan would go after Frogan and Denims. It's not like some random out of the blue in the midst of his crash out. These people and their communities taunted and slandered him over and over. Now that he's responding, he's harassing these creators. God forbid a man tries to defend himself in the face of a relentless attack.
I used to work with this video editor named Froggy Tonic. I discovered him because he was in the circles online that I was in. And one of those circles is an H3 fan. He watched Ethan's content, he liked Ethan's content, until he didn't like Ethan's content. There would be an occasional Froggy tweet where I'd be like, I agree with that, you know? Like, I'm not gonna endorse it, I'm not gonna retweet it or like it, but fair enough.
I guess I just missed my old friend. Some wings are too bird feathered, colored.
Now that brings us to February 28th of this year. Now, my former editor of a year and a half ago did say some truly mean shit. He called Hila the C word. He said they're trying to kill their dog with cheddar cheese and a bunch of other shit, I'm sure. Ethan, at some point, discovers that iDubbbz's former editor says this horrendous shit about him and Hila. But no one's asking the question, where does Ethan get this information from? You see, it would be very obviously a problem if Ethan was discovering this content by scrolling through Twitter looking for something to upset himself with. He has maybe set it up in such a way where his employees feel the need to send him this information, and that would be horrible. They shouldn't be doing that. They should be sending you things that are entertaining for your show that don't trigger the hell out of you. Why is there so much work being put into discovering this guy on Twitter who's barely getting any interactions, linking him to me and posting on the Reddit, when there's no work being put into who the is the person on the Reddit who's posting this in the first place?
I've probably done and stood by iDubbbz and Anissa more than anybody. I've stood by them when all the internet hated them.
I don't like that Ethan brought this up because it makes the relationship feel very transactional. Like, you know, we're just meant to support each other online despite our own personal morals or principles. But
after knowing all of this, how does this guy feel like okay saying all of this knowing that he's like lying straight out of his ass?
Refused to talk on the phone unless I was willing to publicly say something about my former editor and denims. As much as you don't want halfway friends, I also don't want that kind of halfway friend. I don't want someone who's going to give me like an ultimatum to have a conversation.
Where does Ethan get this information from? You're really just gonna take pages out of the Hassan defense playbook like that? Don't address the information, address where this information is coming from. Just like Hassan always does when he says, that came from Destiny's Reddit, to wave off almost all of the criticism he ever receives. And now that people have shined a light on your former editor saying a bunch of horrible shit about Ethan, you're doing the same thing. Attack the messenger and not the message. Weird.
So yes, you caught us. We're not gonna run to your defense when, I don't know, we follow people. We be following. That's one f***ed up thing that you can say about Anissa and I is when we're on Twitter, we do be following.
El Elder Care Locator está aquí para ayudarte a vivir mejor tu vida a medida que envejeces en tu hogar. Nuestros asesores del centro de llamadas están listos para conectarte con expertos locales confiables. La ayuda está a solo una llamada de distancia al 1-800-677-1116.
It doesn't matter what your goal is, making a resume, writing an essay, or drafting a cover letter. Grammarly takes your writing game to the next level. Best part is,
so
the problem.
Okay, if you want to hang out with those people and have no spine and not stand up for another girl that stood up for you, enjoy your new friends.
She's friends with people like Denims.
I know.
Yeah. Which I'll show. Denims is actually participating in this whole Child Protective Service lie.
Yeah.
Which I'll
and if
show
you're
you guys
friends with them, then you're seeing what they're saying.
You'll notice that Ethan and Hila start talking about this Denims character.
It just really seems like Ethan thought that they were all genuinely friends, and he's very genuinely hurt by this, and all of these people just see their relationship as content, and I think that's kind of sad.
Originally, the complaint was about my former editor. He's been chatting shit about Ethan and Hila for the past year at least. They only care about it now because I guess it was spoon-fed to them via their Reddit that's clearly looking out for them. Now, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. We are friends with Denims, but I would say it's the same level of friendship that we had with Ethan and Hila. It's like kind of an internet friendship. We think that she's a good person like we think Ethan and Hila are good people.
They contracted a parasite that I had previously never heard of in my life called Giardia from the dog.
Maybe once a week, I look into what Ethan Klein's been up to, and every time I manage to find more and more terrible
This morning we got a visit from Child Protective Services.
They played this clip like 3 times already.
Because,
kind of a tricky situation. How can you possibly think that they're both good people at their core? People can have crash out moments. People can say things that they don't mean. People can say things because they want internet clout and attention. I don't know, I think they're both probably guilty of saying things that they don't mean for internet clout.
Do I remember the Trisha Paytas stuff? No, actually, I don't know exactly what happened there. I don't know about that.
And attention.
Huh. Isn't it kind of off that iDubbbz is so ready to hand wave off the criticism that people like Denims receive when they actively participated in a campaign to get CPS to go after Ethan and Hila for the most ridiculous, purely because some sort of internet vendetta because Ethan is calling out her community? Like, bro, that's not just some internet crash out saying something bad. That's taking
call into work,
an internet spat, and trying to ruin Ethan and his kid's life over it. But sure, Ian, I'm sure she's a great person. Hand wave away, my dude. Clown.
Now let's talk about the left-leaning Democrat.
He presents himself as someone like me, a left-leaning Democrat who supports basic things.
The thing that made me start to question Ethan's intentions is that when he was suggesting...
I've heard about it, and I heard that apparently Ethan was mean to her, but I'll watch a video about that after this. I was thinking about it, actually, now that you said that.
To talk to Sam Cedar, a fellow progressive, a guy that Ethan respects and looks up to.
He works with Sam Cedar at the Majority Report. I respect him and what they do there.
He kept saying that it was racist or anti-Semitic to suggest that he talked to someone who's within
Blinker checkpoint
in the same ethnic group as him. I don't want someone who's going to give me like an ultimatum to have a conversation.
That's why I said yesterday, like, I urge Ethan to talk to Sam Cedar. There are very thoughtful, very kind anti-Zionist Jews out there that he could talk to. I don't think that I will be able to reach him.
What's the insinuation that I only listen to other Jewish people? You need to talk to my pre-approved list of Jews that like agree with me on everything. You know, it doesn't matter if they're Jewish, dude. It doesn't matter if they're fucking Jewish.
I think most Jews.
I don't think Jews at large view it. I don't think.
There's like a 4-hour video about it, but I don't want to watch a 4-hour video. Oh, look. A chronically online girl explains Frenemies' lore and why it ended. It's only 42 minutes. That looks like the best shot that we have at this, actually. Okay, let's see.
That's me, driving through the country. New vacation home, newly expanded business. I know what you're thinking. This only happens in dreams. Actually, it happened for me with help from a Wells Fargo Premier team.
Ready to meet the dream team? You can, with Wells Fargo.
Some personality quirks are really funny. Like, I talk to my left foot more than I talk to my right. You know what's...
Don't think that I dressed up like this for you, because I didn't. It's my birthday tomorrow, September 10th. Don't mess it up. Not a day later. Absolutely not a day later. Tomorrow's my birthday, and there's nothing more that I wanted to do than to go to CVS and print out full-size pictures of Trisha Paytas crying, which then I had to tell the employee at CVS, oh, it's for a school project. And she was like, I literally don't care. She pulled it out of the box, and she was like, this is the one, right? Like, this is your order. And I was like, you really don't have to pull it out. I believe it. And she's like, no, I just want to make sure that you have the right one. So she's like slowly pulling out each one, and they just keep getting worse. I might just keep this on.
She got a bunch of pictures of Ethan and Trisha printed out and put them on her wall.
Honestly, on my wall, I usually have beautiful decor up here, but I think that this is more beautiful. This video is totally inspired by Mike's Mike. I've gotten compared to him in the past, and there's nothing more higher form of a compliment for me. That feeds my ego severely. I also wanted to give a big thank you to Curology for sponsoring today's video. If you guys have kept up with me in the last few months, I love this body wash. I always not conscious. I know that years old. Remember where we were. Some people do remember where they were on 9/11, okay? But some of us remember where we were on June 8th, 2021. Mainly because I was 2 years old on 9/11, so I quite literally cannot remember it because I was not conscious. I know that's like really hard to believe because I seem like someone who is just so smart and intelligent and that I would be conscious straight out of the canal. June 8th is a very important date that is near and dear to my heart, and I know many of you also watching. A day of remembrance a day of sadness, a day of mourning, a day of uncertainty as to where the world was going to go next. I was at the vet with my cat because she was having explosive diarrhea because a man came over to fix the dishwasher, and that was her first experience with a man ever. Everyone just starts blowing up my phone telling me Frenemies is over. Like, what do you mean Frenemies is over? What do you mean Frenemies is over? But no, Frenemies was really over. That was the day that Frenemies ended, over 2 years ago now. And I've been a changed woman ever since. The sun doesn't shine as bright. Colors, they look duller to me. I have no energy or zest for life anymore. Food doesn't taste the same.
I really never watched Frenemies, like, at all, for shit. I'm not really, like, much of a podcast person, especially not people, middle-aged people that have nothing very much to say. I don't know, I just never watched it. I didn't think I would be interested.
Flowers.
So I'm literally just going into this, like, blind, so I'm like, yeah. It's actually crazy that you felt so deeply about this.
Just lost their beautiful smell they once had. I forgot to mention I also have long COVID. Anyway, it's really tough being the only person in your friend group who has seen all 39 episodes of Frenemies. Okay, no one likes you when you're the Frenemies fan in the group. No one gets the inside jokes. Tuesdays feel the same for everyone else except you. And most importantly, no one understands when I go, at the end of a sentence. Anyway, I love you all so much in the most non-parasocial way ever. And I want you all to have the same obsessions and ideologies that I do. Some may call it occult indoctrination. I call it a chronically online person explains to you the lore of Frenemies.
It was deadass so boring too. That's what I'm saying. I don't really...
Subscribe to my channel to stay in the cult. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to be introducing different people on the wall. So if you're a visual learner like I am, you'll be able to keep up. Frenemies, the podcast, consists of Ethan Klein and Trisha Paytas. But it's important for you to understand who these people are, like first of all. Who is Ethan Klein? Big chance, if you're a hot and sexy girl, you probably don't know who Ethan Klein is before Frenemies. I'm not saying that you're not hot and sexy if you did know who Ethan Klein was. I'm just saying that there is a huge chance that there is a large population of really hot girls who have no idea who Ethan Klein was, but did know who Trisha Paytas was, okay? This is Ethan Klein and this is Hila Klein. They're the creators of the H3 podcast. Originally, it was called H3H3 Productions, which was a YouTube channel. They did skits, funny videos. They had this whole Vape Nation thing that was like really, really popular. And then they transformed it a few years ago into the H3 podcast. The H and the 3, it's called H3 because Hila and the 3 is Ethan. E for Ethan. 3 On their podcast, they were known for having people like Post Malone, Joji. Hila and Ethan met at the Holocaust.
Okay, blinker checkpoint, and we're taking the fattest rib ever.
Museum in Israel. Ethan was on a birthright trip, and Hila lived in Israel and was born and raised in Israel, and she was in the Israeli military because it's a requirement for everyone to serve in it. They got married in 2012, and at the time of when Frenemies started, they had one son named Theodore. Some important things to know about Ethan. He has had quite a history on YouTube, which is considered controversial and very offensive, honestly. Since then, Ethan has apologized for a lot of the things that he has done, but that does not mean that he has not hurt people since then as well, because he definitely has. It's also important to note that he is Jewish and has Tourette's. And I know that seems...
James, you have a boat?
It's random, but it's important to the entire story of understanding Frenemies. And I'm so serious when I tell you that on his Wikipedia page, that's exactly how it's listed. Is Jewish and has Tourette's. Nonetheless, a very controversial figure. Some people don't even want to be on the H3 podcast because they know that they might be looked down upon because of it. In 2023, I would say that his show and his persona has definitely changed online.
That's what he wanted me to say.
And I would say, I wouldn't use the word family friendly, but they're definitely more conscious of what they put out on the internet. They even have a button to delete the last 20 seconds of audio that is on air since their shows are live, in case he said something offensive or doesn't want on the air.
Those with Robinhood Gold can enjoy a 3% IRA match. Tremendous.
Oh.
However, in 2020, he also got himself in a lot of trouble. Although he himself is Jewish, he said some pretty bad things about Ben Shapiro that I can't say in this video, or else I will be banned. So that got him and his channel banned off of YouTube for a whole week. Hila Klein, however, works a bit more now on their clothing brand, Teddy Fresh. So while she is on the shows on Fridays and occasionally some other times, she is not the sole host of the H3 podcast. Who the hell is Trisha Paytas? Said no one ever. She's a YouTuber that I found when I was a child as blonde.
You know how I found out about Trisha Paytas? When she was doing that fast talking stuff. I was like, no way this is real.
Sundoll for MJ. If you want to know how much unlimited access I had to the internet and how little of parental control I had, I knew who Trisha Paytas was as a kid.
Where is the New World Order?
So yeah, I would watch her crash out all the time.
So she's known for her trolling videos, for her mukbangs. She's been on various TV shows such as My Strange Addiction, America's Got Talent.
She was.
The Ellen Show.
You know, Trisha's low-key done everything, honestly.
So she's basically kind of known as a troll who makes videos.
She's been everywhere.
For attention.
She's a good troll. She ate that.
Knows that they will get views. In this particular photo right here, she was crying because she found out that her boyfriend was in fact gay. It is speculated that this was all...
And she... because her boyfriend's
just
gay?
A publicity stunt.
Oh my god.
Does Trisha Paytas always admit to her trolling? No, because then that wouldn't really be trolling. So Trisha Paytas is pretty open about her substance abuse issues in the past, her mental health issues, and how these things have contributed to her making distasteful videos, like coming out and identifying as a chicken nugget, or coming out and identifying as black. Trisha Paytas is known to be tied with other YouTube.
I was about to say, I think the racism kind of ruins it for me, but I wasn't going to say anything yet because she hadn't even said anything.
She was very, very close friends with Shane Dawson at the start of filming Frenemies, also friends with Jeffree Star, and also had major beef with Gabby Hanna. Additionally, she was kind of part of the Vlog Squad a few years back because she dated Jason Nash.
Oh my god. Was it Jason Nash that was mean as fuck to her, or was it also Ethan? Dude, Jason Nash was so fucking mean to her.
Of the Vlog Squad. I just want to make this very well known that even though I am doing a video about frenemies and I'm a fan of the comedic side of the podcast and I know too much about it, that does not mean that I condone anything that any of these people do. They both have faults and mistakes and have hurt many, many, many different communities. They are 100% problematic and I will never ever deny that. Do I think in 2023 they have worked on some of the issues that they have in order to become better people?
She argued that gravity wasn't real one time. No way. You're fucking lying.
Personally, I feel like they have done some of the work. I think there's still a long way to go. How did Ethan and Trisha meet? October 26, 2019, Trisha Paytas came on the H3 podcast.
We're looking at what happened to Trisha and Ethan's podcast.
She admits she hated Ethan Klein with a burning passion and thought that he was a horrible person, that he is worse for women than Trump, and saw him as a troll. She also believed that Ethan was slut-shaming her and was very vile towards her because of a video that he made called Instagram versus Reality, which he made on the H3 Productions channel. Essentially, it's this whole sexist video of him showing photos of women, how they look on Instagram versus candid photos of them, saying that, wow, they look so beautiful here, but so ugly here. How is that even possible?
Why are you even a model if you're gonna modify your looks that much? It's like from beauty queen to WWF.
Oh, okay, be for real. Yeah, I was about to be like, oh, that's not that big of a deal, but he's genuinely being like really mean, like for no reason. Like, this is a very obviously photoshopped picture of her, and then a picture of her with no makeup on. Dog.
F wrestler in 2 seconds. You cannot Photoshop your heart.
And then the camera flips to him, and he has the audacity.
And soul. Remember that. This girl.
Yeah, remember that.
Tried to use a face filter on Instagram, and her phone blew up.
Girl got the
Here's
audacity.
another one of her.
Refers to Trisha Paytas as a corpse, and Tana Mojo, who is not on this board, as a Twinkie. So Trisha Paytas came onto the podcast to kind of confront Ethan and be like, you are such an asshole for doing that. She also admits to thinking
Ethan doesn't know how to work with people and will have disagreements about percentages and money, really?
That Ethan and Hila are Hasidic Jewish people, and that she wants to find a Jewish man to marry so badly, but none of them want to marry her unless she converts.
People think I fetishize Jewish people because I love Jewish men.
Yeah, but I
love
don't.
Jewish
You
men.
shouldn't say I'm obsessed.
Now, Trisha is pretty open about her Christian beliefs on her channel. She even has a song called I Love You, Jesus.
That's my superstar. I remember that. I remember that. Damn, James, how many phone calls?
When
you
I
gotta
was
take? That's
diagnosed with
crazy.
HIV, I didn't know who I
James
would
is
be.
booked and
But
busy,
here I am,
guys.
being me.
Keep being you and
You might be asking yourself, why am I talking so much about Judaism? It's a huge part of Frenemies. But Trisha's comments about Judaism are also very, very prevalent on her channel for many years now. Prior to Trisha being on
Trisha tweeted this. How did... Can I say that? Hitler. Not like the Jews. They have big penises and make amazing soup. Like, for real, though. Trisha, why would you tweet that?
Very prevalent on her channel for many years now. Prior to Trisha being on this first H3 podcast episode with them together, Trisha Paytas
have a good day.
Made a video where she talks about that she feels like a trans man. Trisha at the time was going by he, him pronouns, and many people were supportive of Trisha. However, many were very offended, feeling like she was mocking the trans community. Since then, Trisha has come out and said that she uses she, they pronouns. And she has admitted on her new podcast episode in August 2023 with Dr. Drew, okay? Some people like to compare him to like the Dr. Phil of YouTube. However, it does seem like he is a legitimate doctor. Trisha and Dr. Drew sat down August 2023, and Trisha has talked about how she did not mean to hurt the trans community, but instead was truly going through gender identity issues. Her and Dr. Drew talked about how borderline personality disorder, which she is diagnosed with, has led her to feeling like she doesn't have a stable sense of self and struggles with feeling like she has no personality and identity of her own. It's also important to note that within this podcast episode, Hila's also on there, okay? But Hila's not as confrontational as Ethan is, okay? Ethan is confronting Trisha and is telling her, listen, it's kind of messed up for you to be making these videos that are so controversial because you know that they'll get views. So you're just making so much money off of these, and that's why you're doing it. It's a cash grab. Trisha claims that she has made no money off of any of these videos and that her whole channel is demonetized, so she has not made a single cent. Ethan then asks her to pull up the YouTube Studio app, which she does. Turns out she has made $8,000 off of that video at the time.
Open your analytics and show me
I don't
that
have my
video.
computer. I literally don't have my computer.
You have it on your phone.
No, I don't.
Yes,
I'm
you
not
do.
signed
Every
in.
YouTuber has it on their phone.
I swear.
She made $8,000 from that video.
Wait, you have to cut that because YouTube will literally take away my monetization. You can't say how much you make.
Trisha denies it, says that can't be real, that can't be true.
Hey guys, real quick. I know that this is rage bait, but
Oh my god. Sorry. I blacked out for a second. TikTok took my live down. And I forgot that I have this live here. So I was like... But they took my live down because of the tweet that I read of Trisha out loud. Literally. So
Crew asked Ethan to cut that out of the episode. Furthers people's beliefs that Trisha said these hurtful things and was trolling in order to make money. Within the same episode, even though I've told you everything that I've told you so far, Trisha Paytas calls Ethan Klein a 10, all right? In front of his wife, Hila Klein.
No, I think you're the worst human.
Yeah, but on a scale of attraction.
10.
No, you don't.
1,000%. You're 100% my type. I can't say it in front of you. I know you're my type, but I can't say
Trisha says that she would go after Ethan if him and Hila had divorced.
If Hila took your advice
The way I leapt over. I'm sorry.
and moved on, would you make a move on me?
Yes.
Oh, God.
So is that what you were trying to do the whole time?
However, she still thinks that he is the worst person alive, but he is a 10 and is attractive, and I quote, his face, his body, and his voice are what is most attractive about him. The second appearance on the H3 podcast. A few months later, February 22nd, 2020, right before the pandemic, Trisha Paytas is a guest again on the H3 podcast, announcing that they are going to be doing an H3 Bachelorette because Ethan has already done an H3 Bachelorette with his crew. This is his crew, okay? All right, that's his crew. He has done that already with a certain man named Ian, which they did the H3 Bachelorette in order for him to find a girlfriend, which through the Bachelorette, he has found a girlfriend named Sam. So he's like, oh my God, this was so successful. I want to do it again. Let's do it this time with Trisha Paytas. How funny would that be? So essentially, H3 would organize for fans to send in videos as kind of like an audition to take Trisha.
Since my TikTok got taken down, I'm going to make a TikTok.
Out on a date. Things did not go as planned. Why would that? Instead of finding any interest in any of the contestants that submitted for the H3 Bachelorette, she instead finds interest in Moses Hackman, which is Hila Klein's brother.
Yeah, but wasn't he like really good for her?
Brother. Siblings. I know this is really hard to believe that this isn't Jesus Christ himself, but he is Hila Klein's brother, who also happened to work on the H3 podcast. Over the course of the pandemic, Trisha Paytas and Moses Hackman are posting photos together, calling themselves family, clearly quarantining together. The intentions? Very unclear for Ethan and Hila, and they were suspicious. Frenemies starts September 15th, 2020. I don't know if I should be celebrating or mourning. No, I'm gonna be mourning. I'm gonna be dressed in all black, kind of like I am now. And yeah, no one talked to me and no one expect anything from me. Next Friday, I will be mourning. However, it is important to understand something about the Frenemies podcast. It is run under the H3 podcast umbrella. It is never its own separate entity, okay? Meaning that it is filmed in Ethan's studio, which at the time had to be run inside of their basement because of COVID. And it's run by Ethan's crew and employees who are producing it, writing it, editing it, posting it, everything, all of the above. And when Frenemies is uploaded as a podcast, it is uploaded under the H3 podcast name. So when it goes up on Spotify, you would have to look up H3. Although it would have a different thumbnail, it is still run under the H3 podcast. Same thing with the YouTube channel. It does not have its own separate YouTube channel. It is run under the H3 podcast. Huge reason for this is because Ethan and Hila already had the resources for this podcast, okay? Also,
that looks so stupid. I love it. What if I put like heavy metal over it? This is actually so cringe. It's okay. I did the most cringe ass thing the other day too. It's okay. It's gonna be okay.
Ethan was pretty unsure how long this would last with Trisha. They already had a built-in audience. It makes the most sense to put it under the H3 umbrella. And it worked. It was really successful that way. But that's extremely important to note because it was always under the H3 umbrella. And
guys, I got it back.
It was not under Trisha's umbrella. The second episode of Frenemies is literally titled Trisha's Obsession with Jewish People. Main conversations early on in the podcast are literally about Trisha's undeniable obsession with the Jewish culture and religion.
Hey, I'm like promoting this like culture.
Yeah, but you're kind of like, this is kind of like cultural appropriation, isn't it?
Appreciation.
What the fuck?
Fargo, ¿cuánto gasté en compras este mes?
I don't know.
Right, okay.
The main conversations of the podcast also revolve talking about their weight, drug use, body counts, awkward sex conversations, Trisha's OnlyFans content, and also being obsessed and in love with Hila's brother, Moses Hackman.
Just fetishize him.
I always ask him that too. I'm like, I wonder if I just like the idea of you.
You
you're, like,
say
new.
that to him?
Yeah, like he's like, I don't know if it's like he's just different and new and like a toy. So I'm like,
That's
oh, this
what
is
it
fun.
is.
Which, might I add, during the taping of the show, the crew's all there. They're filming it all, okay? Hila, she's not there. Ethan's obviously there. Trisha's there. But Moses is always behind the scenes and behind the camera. Ethan begins to question Trisha a lot and begins prying on the podcast. Why are you so obsessed with Jewish people? Why are you making Jewish content online, especially TikTok, which she referred to as Jew talk?
You says rating my Jew lunch.
Uh-huh.
Do you not see what's the problem with that?
I couldn't fit ish in there.
But Jew is like a derogative.
No.
My Jew lunch?
I think it's the way you say it. I was rating like, oh, my Jew lunch.
Despite Trisha Paytas in no way, shape, or form being Jewish. This is also the episode where the whole thing where she goes, got born.
A joke, but you wanted to get in and get that cash grab.
Who the fuck's gonna pay me to be on OnlyFans?
A lot of people. Do you watch?
I fucking love this clip.
A lot of people, yeah. I'm just feeling that's important to know. And within the second episode, a lot of anti-Semitic comments right off the bat. The third episode, within 20 seconds, they are already joking right off the bat about ending the show. It's gonna end. Because Trisha was annoyed with Ethan for texting her too much the night before they were going to film an episode because he was asking her if she has any ideas for the episode. This is just foreshadowing, okay? Trisha in this episode specifically says, "We are not friends." She also says in this episode, "Moses' family doesn't like me. No one likes me." Trisha Paytas at this time was not invited yet to Rosh Hashanah at Ethan Klein's house where Hila was going to be and Moses because their families would also be there. And Moses did not know if he wanted to bring Trisha just yet. Within the same episode, Trisha Paytas asked Ethan Klein if
this is a little weird.
They can shower together for
weird.
OnlyFans. Trisha also expressed that
Wait,
Trisha Paytas asked Ethan Klein if they can shower together for OnlyFans. Trisha also expressed that she doesn't like that Ethan wears Hila's clothing brand, Teddy Fresh, on the podcast so much because she could not advertise her OnlyFans in the description because YouTube quite literally does not allow that. But she was upset that he was wearing their clothing brand so much. The fourth episode.
Why is she upset by that?
October started, which means it's the Halloween month, meaning that Ethan and Trisha dress up every single week as different characters. Ethan decides to dress up as James Charles. In this episode, the most beautiful, glorious quote ever that is done because the crew and Trisha and Ethan are playing trivia, where Trisha then goes, "The thinnest layer of the earth?"
The Earth has 4 layers, the thickest of which is the mantle. What's the thinnest layer of the Earth called?
Dude, who the fuck did Ethan's makeup? Why does it look really good?
The foreskin.
The thinnest layer of the earth?
The thinnest layer of the earth? And someone on crew says, that is correct. And Trisha goes, "Oh, thank you, I got a point."
Correct.
Oh, thank you. I got a point.
Sorry?
No, wait, what?
This is the first episode that truly rocked the boat on Frenemies. Now, there is a difference between what they do on the H3 podcast, which a lot of the times is arguing, and there is a difference between that and fighting.
I know, she's really funny.
Which is where, like, it feels like mom and dad are fighting, okay? Now, for me personally, mom and dad fighting meant that I had to start doing OCD rituals, and I started praying to the Pope to make them stop, and I felt like it was my fault and everything. I get similar feelings when the two of them fight. So on this episode, Trisha Paytas was very vulnerable that she has been struggling with infertility and that she really, really wants to be a mom very soon. And they're joking about Trisha and Moses having a baby together. The argument starts when Trisha Paytas says that it is a bigger commitment for her and Moses to buy a house together than it is for them to have a child together. Ethan pushes and calls Trisha crazy, in which then Trisha says that Ethan is crazier. Ethan likes to very much so push buttons on this podcast, which is a huge flaw that he has, but he did this especially to Trisha a lot, especially in moments where you could tell that she was uncomfortable or vulnerable or upset. Calling her crazy probably wasn't.
That's also why I never wanted to watch this, because I heard that he was always just gaslighting her.
Wasn't the best idea. But anyway, that is when Trisha Paytas decides to say to Ethan, You're crazy or you're just not honest about it. You used to have a pill addiction. This is where Ethan then says that Trisha Paytas weaponizes personal and vulnerable information that he has chosen to open up to her about. Trisha then says that Ethan is a gaslighter and pushed her too much with the jokes that he made and that they're not funny. And when this podcast episode aired, a lot of people said that this may have kind of been a result of a sore subject being brought up on this episode, which was that Ethan and Hila were going on a beach getaway vacation that weekend for their anniversary, where they were going to try and conceive for another child. Trisha opening up on the podcast about her struggles and trauma with not being able to conceive, this may have been a sore subject. I'm not saying that's definitive at all.
Aren't they all like 30 plus doing this? Like, do we not like know how to have a conversation with each other where we have different stances and come to an understanding? I mean, I know he's doing it on purpose, but like, bro, you don't actually have to do that. You know, people are going to watch this podcast if you get along or argue. So why don't you just get along? Honestly.
But that is what a lot of...
Hey, did you know if you're like actually funny, instead of insulting people, people would actually watch it more?
Fans speculated after this episode had aired. While fighting, Trisha uses this beach getaway against Ethan and calls his life sad and pathetic, and that there was a reason why he is with the same person.
Oh, he literally just triggered the fuck out of her, so she's just going off now.
For over 12 years because he could not get anyone else. Trisha then says that she is absolutely done with the show. She said that she was upset because she had no...
That's work though. I mean, it's work, but they're acting very unprofessional. So...
say into how the set was built by the crew, which this argument comes up later on in the show, pushing that she is the reason why the H3 podcast had suddenly started doing a lot better because of Trisha Paytas being
that's true
on, and that the H3 podcast was dying prior to Trisha coming on.
Yes.
Did their views highly increase once Trisha Paytas was on the H3 podcast? Absolutely.
Yes.
I only found out about the H3 podcast because of Frenemies. Trisha also says, I don't care if Moses breaks up with me over this. Ethan says, why would Moses break up with you? Where Trisha then says, I don't like his family. I don't like hanging out with you guys. You guys are awful. No, also
she's real as fuck for that though.
Additionally says, good luck on the baby making. Ethan then apologizes to Trisha at the end, realizes that he thought that they were joking together, but they were not. Trisha then storms out and leaves for the first time from the Frenemies set. This is the part where things
rough. That's rough.
Kind of get blurry and sad and complicated when it comes to Trisha Paytas and Moses' relationship. Trisha and Moses are both pretty open on the podcast and are joking that Trisha was trying to look at Moses' messages to other girls and even suggest at some points underage girls that were fans. And that because she was trying to get the phone from him, that she had hit and punched him, but her defense is that he bruised because he's so frail. Ethan was made aware of this and even brought up on the podcast that that is why the two of them had broken up. Apparently also Trisha had kept her keys away.
Girl, what?
From him for like 12 hours. It kind of seemed to be like a joke and made very light of on the podcast, even though that's not a joke, nor is it funny and very serious.
It's really not funny. That's actually really insane.
So it's clear from the start of this relationship, there is some sort of abuse and toxicity happening within the relationship. These are all very confusing and not clear for us because we're just the viewers and we are not in these people's relationships, and just bits and snippets that were shared with us on the air. But I think it's very important to talk about because families were beginning to intertwine because Hila and Ethan.
This is rough.
Ethan and Trisha and Moses were now all suddenly becoming a melting pot together as like a family. Domestic abuse was beginning to be speculated, and this was a much bigger deal behind the scenes than any of the viewers had realized even at that point, and they chose to not go public with a lot of information, which I honestly think was probably for the best. Episode 7, Trisha and Ethan decide to do an episode with Dr. Drew where they do couples therapy. Ethan and Trisha are trying to work through the resentment that they have built towards each other over the short amount of time that they have worked with each other. Unfortunately, this episode had a lot of potential, but Dr. Drew seemed to be interrupting Ethan a lot of the time and siding with Trisha and kind of invalidating Ethan Klein's feelings to a lot of the things that he was talking about. Talking down to Ethan on why he wasn't as good as de-escalating a situation versus Trisha Paytas, who had a very bad meltdown at Ethan. Dr. Drew also glazed over when domestic abuse between Moses and Trisha was brought up, as it's kind of predictable because she does suffer with BPD. It's like the behavior was dismissed and swept under the rug with the excuse of blackouts, but Trisha claimed that she is working on it and is in DBT, which is dialectical behavior therapy, which is very intense therapy, but is for BPD. Over the next few episodes, they're actually pretty low stress and not fighting. They're getting along really well. It seems like Trisha and Ethan are actually becoming pretty good friends. It's actually pretty wholesome to watch in the videos. It almost starts to feel like a brother and sister dynamic, like they really are family, which this was really important, and a lot of people were really happy to see that Trisha had a platonic male friend in her life. And you can tell that Trisha Paytas also really valued this friendship that she was starting to build with Ethan. In this time, they literally do goat yoga.
Tampon in.
Oh, God.
Bro just asked, how conservative are you with clothes? What are you talking about?
Dude.
I have shorts and tights though.
Goats
Are they attracted to blood, like sharks?
They're vegan.
They also do carpool karaoke together.
It's a family affair. It's you guys. This is about Moses. This is the one.
It's a family affair. Oh, that's about me?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Because it's a family affair.
Right.
I didn't gonna even sleep now.
But after I explain episode 13, you will be completely shocked that they had filmed 20 more episodes.
Am I part furry? Yeah.
Episodes after this. Because it feels like this one should truly be the end of it, which a lot of us thought this definitely is the end of it. So one moment, Trisha and Ethan are completely fine and actually having a very wholesome and good conversation. And the next, Trisha asks if Hila can be on an episode of Frenemies, which Ethan immediately says no. Trisha says, why? Because it seems like a lot of fans think that we don't like each other, or that I don't like Hila, or that Hila doesn't like me. Ethan says she does not want to be talked about. We need to cut this out of the episode. Don't talk about Hila. Trisha immediately gets very upset by this.
Don't talk about Hila. We're cutting this part out. She doesn't want to be talked about.
Gatekeeping some onesie is crazy business. You know what's crazy business? You didn't even ask me anything about the onesie. That's actually what's crazy business.
Are you fucking serious?
I'm serious. We have to cut this.
That's fucking crazy.
Apparently, behind the scenes, Hila and Moses were going through some family problems, family troubles, their brother and sister, as that happens. And Trisha would go through the messages and read between Hila and Moses. Apparently there was some sort of drama behind the scenes between them two and also involving their parents. And it didn't have anything to do with Trisha, nor was it Trisha's business. But Hila did not appreciate that Trisha would come online and say that Hila doesn't like her, that they're worried that fans think that they don't like each other. Hila did not want to be included in these conversations anymore on air and requested that she was not talked about on air and that her problems with her and Moses be kept private. The pizza curse begins. Whenever pizza is ordered from now on, you will forever get anxiety. Some shit's about to go down. Friendships are about to be ruined. Families are about to collapse. No one order pizza. The pizza is ordered and the pizza arrives. And Trisha decides to say to Ethan, when I have kids, I'm for sure not having a nanny. Ethan asks Trisha what she means by this, which Trisha goes on a whole rant about how she would not leave her kids with a stranger, that they would not be with a nanny, and that they would be with family, and that to her, it does not seem responsible that they hired a nanny. This kind of seems out of the blue, and that's because it kind of is, because when she just starts saying, I would have a nanny, that's for sure, it literally kind of came out of left field. Ethan is very much so in defense of Hila and him having a nanny because they are not able to be with their children during the day when they're both working, when she is in the offices for Teddy Fresh and he is in the studio. So Trisha, by saying that she would not have a nanny, not only looks bad for Hila and Ethan that they are bad parents, but also their families for not choosing to watch the children full time. Ethan then says, am I supposed to just be watching the 1.5-year-old
This is so extra.
all day by myself? As to which then Trisha said, yes, you should be watching the 1.5-year-old all day to yourself. Which then he said, have you ever spent time with a 1.5-year-old? Which then Trisha says, that's very offensive. You know I'm infertile. This seems to be a continuing, very sore subject that is brought up. Trisha then calls Ethan and Hila some really horrible names that I cannot repeat or else I will get demonetized. And so she storms out with Moses After the pizza has been delivered, he delivered the pizza this time, okay? That's important to note. They storm out and the episode is over. After filming this podcast episode, Trisha then goes home and makes dozens of videos about Ethan and Hila on her channel, which then she admits later on was a bit of a meltdown and was embarrassing for her. Episode 14, they're back like they literally never left, okay? Trisha...
So she stormed out, had a meltdown, and then she pulled back up for another episode. Is crazy.
Ethan are back in the studio, and this time Dr. Drew is back and they're taking narcissism tests. For a while, they become actually pretty much like a power duo with the episodes. It gets extremely successful, super high views, less fighting. Hila was even on an episode where they did a newlywed competition because Trisha and Moses got engaged. You may have noticed by this time that Mac DeMarco is on this wall, and that's because I need to fill every single picture frame, but also because he was a guest judge on the Frenemies episode where they did a cook-off together.
I'll say another staple of the YMCA daycare that I
Okay, YMCA is banging over there, dude.
Parmesan.
Who's that?
It adds a bit of class. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Mac DeMarco tried Trisha Paytas'
Mac DeMarco
buttered noodles, and Mac DeMarco is friends with Ethan Klein, and sometimes they like look very similar in the facial expressions that they make. Something happened to my brain chemistry when this episode aired. I felt like
That's so cringe. That's so cringe.
I was hallucinating, and I needed
That's so cringe.
to pick out 5 things I can see, 5 things I can touch, 5 things I can smell, 5 things I can taste, 5 things I can hear, etc., etc. The second to last episode, episode 38, because there's a whopping 39 with an additional 40 where it's just Ethan Klein on his own. Hila and Ethan announced that they are pregnant. Never thought you'd see me, a person with OCD who's extremely scared of pregnancy and babies, that they would have a picture of a sonogram in their house. Hope my therapist is watching. Look at me. I'm doing exposure therapy. I almost called my therapist a bitch. I did not mean to do that. I meant it in like a loving way. I was like, look at me, bitch. Like it was supposed to be like really endearing, but she actually does not watch my videos because that would be very unethical. Anyway, Hila and Ethan are pregnant with their second baby, Bruce Klein. After this episode aired, many people felt like Trisha Paytas was very hostile towards...
So it's a bunch of hoopla is basically what we're saying here. That this is a bunch of hoopla. Okay. Why did people act like Ethan was like the devil during this? I mean, he was kind of mean, but it's not like, I don't know, I don't think it was really that bad. They still profited off of it too. So, wow, people on the internet are so dramatic about stuff. Okay, whatever. What time is it? Okay, I'm done with that. I am going to skedaddle because it's 2 and I want to go eat something and I have to edit some videos and I have to clean the house. So, love you. Yeah, I'll probably be back to play